match that was.
Looks like the main event is starting, live on ORSN.
Let's give a big arena welcome to...
The Hunters!
Star Wars Hunters is a brand new PvP multiplayer arena shooter developed by Zynga. Yes, the Farmville Words with Friends Zynga. This isn't something that I would typically review on this channel because it's marketed heavily as a mobile game and I don't play mobile games. But it was released also on the Nintendo Switch, which is technically a console, and I play console games, and I just love Star Wars in general. But anyway, Star Wars Hunters was officially released today, this morning, and I've been playing it for hours now. And I have a lot of thoughts that I want to share with you guys. So I'm going to show you some raw gameplay. I'm going to get into the review, but before I do that, hit that subscribe button. I talk about video games all the time on this channel, day one reviews, just like this. But I also review and discuss movies and TV shows as well. But anyway, let's talk about Star Wars Hunters. So I went into Star Wars Hunters with practically zero expectations, and I'm surprised to say that honestly, after the first couple of rounds, I was practically hooked. Star Wars Hunters is a surprisingly competent and addictive pick up and play PvP game. But first, let me describe more of what this game actually is, and then I'll get into all of the things that I like about it. It's a 4v4 hero-based PvP game. You can play as different heroes that range from Wookiees to droids to lightsaber-wielding Force users, and each character has their own unique abilities and their own type of weapons, and they are all one of three classes. They're either damage, healer, or tank. And the game modes that I played the most were a standard team deathmatch style game mode, where the first team to get X amount of kills wins, and the other was this game's take on a domination-like game mode, where there's 3 capture points somewhere on the map, and whichever team holds at least 2 of them at a time will earn points, and the first team to the score limit wins. There is a third game mode, which is kind of like King of the Hill, but I didn't really play that one much. But anyway, I guess you could say that the elevator pitch for this game would sound something like this. It's kind of like a third-person Call of Duty, but with a hero class system and abilities that work more like Overwatch, and it's set in the Star Wars universe. So with that being said, what are some of the things that surprised me the most about Star Wars Hunters? Well, for one, the gameplay is a lot more fun and a lot more smooth than I was expecting it to be. Gunplay feels good and punchy, time to kill feels spot on, and it performs surprisingly well, both handheld and docked on the Nintendo Switch. Is it as smooth and is the gameplay as refined and fine-tuned as something like Destiny or Overwatch? No, obviously not. This is clearly a cheaper made game, but for a multiplayer PvP shooter with oftentimes a lot of stuff happening on screen at once, it works and it runs better than you'd expect. And not to mention, once again, it's developed by Zynga. All of the different characters are really fun to play as well. Like I mentioned, they have their own unique abilities and weapons, and they all play and they feel noticeably different from each other as well. Another thing that I wasn't expecting. There were a few times that I was playing a match and I found myself in a scenario that I knew was just going to end in my untimely death, and I thought to myself, if I was playing as the Wookiee right now, I'd be able to use his dash ability and get myself out of this situation. Or at other times, I'd see multiple enemies lined up together and think, damn it, I wish I could use that other character's rocket barrage ultimate ability. And again, I just wasn't expecting this many noticeable differences between the characters that you play as. Again though, not to twist this to sound like a backhanded compliment, but this isn't Overwatch or Valorant. The differences of the characters don't feel that distinct, but for what this game is, again, it's surprisingly fleshed out, and it continued to impress me the more and more that I played it. Also, it's worth mentioning, if I didn't already, but this is a free-to-play game. But not only is it a free-to-play game, but like I did say before, it's a free-to-play mobile game. That's also on the Nintendo Switch. And like everyone else, when I hear free-to-play and mobile in the same sentence, I immediately assume it's going to be filled to the brim with microtransactions and pay-to-win features. But once again, to my shock, there doesn't seem to be much, if any, pay-to-win here. Of course, there's an item shop where you buy items with real-life money, but flipping through the shop and looking at all of the items, I noticed they were all cosmetics. They were hero skins, weapon wraps, victory poses, stuff like that. I didn't see anything that changed gameplay. I didn't see anything that changed stats or anything like that. However, I did notice that you could use real-life money to unlock different characters early, but it's worth noting that you can unlock these characters by just simply playing the game. And after putting in only maybe an hour or so into the game, I had already unlocked the first 5 heroes. But not only that, I already unlocked different skins for the characters I had unlocked and different weapon wraps as well. But it is worth mentioning that I haven't unlocked all of the characters yet. And with each character that you unlock, the next one requires a little more XP, then a little more after that, and so on and so forth. So for all I know, maybe once you get to the last few heroes, it'll require an insane amount of grind. I'm not saying that's the case, but maybe it is. Because free-to-play games tend to be very front-heavy, where they throw a lot of free stuff at you immediately to trick you into thinking that they're kind and giving. Then once the honeymoon phase wears off, you realize that you haven't unlocked anything of any real worth or meaning in a long, long time. Again, might not be the case here, but with anything that's free, just be cautious. Also, like a lot of games like this, your first handful of matches will be against bots, and then a mixture of bots and people. At least I'm 99% sure that's the case here, because the first 10 or so games that I played, I absolutely killed it. I obliterated everyone in my path, and then I realized, oh, I probably still got the training wheels on. But rest assured, after you put in your rookie hours, it does seem to throw you into actual legit matches with an actual legit enemy team. Once you get to level 6 or so, you'll notice games start becoming a lot more even, and you'll start dying a lot more, and then a lot more after that, and then you'll actually start losing some games, or even worse, you'll start getting a negative KDR, and then that's when the game really starts to get fun. But Star Wars Hunters is not a perfect game. Of course it's not. I do have some critiques that I'll rattle off here. First off, matches need to be a tad bit longer. Don't get me wrong, I understand that this is supposed to be a quick pick up and play, kill time during the ads on Hulu style game. And I like that. It's one of the reasons I like this game a lot, actually, but still, I think matches are just a tiny bit too short. I often feel like you're just starting to get your momentum in a game, then without warning, it just says victory or defeat, and then the game is over. I think this game would find the perfect sweet spot if matches were about maybe 20% longer. But my biggest critique of this game on a fundamental level is that game modes and map design isn't really designed for any real teamwork. Again, there are tanks, and they feel and they play like tanks, and damaged characters play their part perfectly, and of course, healers feel like healers. The design of the characters and their gameplay mechanics are all there, but the way the game plays doesn't seem to really require any of it. There's just no real synergy to a team. Of course, though, this game is new. Maybe that'll change, but it's not really a player problem, it's a game design problem, so I hope this game adds different maps and different gameplay styles that kind of forces teams to work more as a team. But anyway, that's my thoughts on Star Wars Hunters after spending a few hours with it. And I'm genuinely surprised at how much I am enjoying this game, but there's always gonna be that constant worry, that constant red flag that always accompanies a game like this. I'm always going to be wondering, when are they going to screw this up? When are they going to add the pay-to-win mechanics? When are they going to absolutely destroy any of the good faith that they've earned? Hopefully never, but it's probably just a matter of time, let's be honest. So have you played Star Wars Hunters yet? If you have, let me know what you're thinking about it in the comments. If you haven't played it yet, let me know. Do you plan to? Does this game look fun to you? Or are you going to skip it completely? And if you're going to skip it completely, let me know why as well. But anyway, once again, consider subscribing if you haven't already, and thank you for watching, especially if you watched this far.